Hi, friends. It's Melinda and Ollie here with another episode of Unhinged Founder. I got a new podcast camera for Christmas, so we're trying this out. Do we look good? Today's episode, we have my new dear friend, Roxanne. Honestly, after our conversation, I need her to call me every single morning and tell me that I'm doing okay and I'm doing a good job. You will love her. I love her. She's an amazing photographer that is from the Chicago area and now lives here in Raleigh. And without further ado, let's get into it, Ollie. All right, Roxanne, go ahead and introduce yourself to me and Ollie.
Oh my gosh. Okay. First of all, I literally requested to be on the podcast because of Ollie. I'm here for the Ollie moment. And I mean, I love you too, but look, and the Chewy is here as well. So I'm like, we were meant to be friends because my dog comes on every discovery call I have with my clients and he thinks he is like part of my business. So I know he's
Ollie
the chief executive puppy. Yes. Okay, perfect. So you're already seeing my ADHD come out, but let me focus and lock in. Okay, I'm Roxanne. I am the founder of How I Images, and I help purpose-driven entrepreneurs show up with clarity, confidence, and connection. And I do that through helping them tell their story through brand photography, brand storytelling, which we can talk about why that's different than brand photography. But it goes way deeper than a headshot. I always say, like, if you just need a headshot, lose my number. If you are ready to tell your story and show up more vibrantly online, call me. So I want people to have their visuals finally match the value they bring, and then they can connect with their ideal clients with intention, strategy, and dignity. So I'm certified in ethical storytelling, which is like how I started my business, and I still carry that with me.
I love it. Okay, so I met you at a No Women event. I was speaking at it, and I was immediately like, okay, she's my people. She doesn't give a shit. We're not like Southern Belle girlies. So I immediately locked into you. And then after I spoke, you sent me a bunch of like content of me. And I was like, yes, because I'm always a person that gets content of people. No one gets content of me. So like, I was very appreciative of that. So I can tell you're a real girl's girl.
Yeah, I love doing that. I mean, it was just phone stuff, but yeah, and we met at Pinup. Shout out to Christina and the ladies there. That was such a fun event. And I like if I see somebody speaking and it's like fire or like I resonate, I will record them and then send it to them. It's not even necessarily for me to post it. It's just because like, one, I'm a mom of 4. 2, I'm a photographer. You think I have any stuff of myself, you would be wrong. That's why I hire it every single year. So I love like helping women show up. And so I'm like, oh, she's saying some fire stuff. I'm going to send this to her. I didn't even know you. I had to find you on Instagram, but I'm like, it was meant to be.
Look at us now, girl.
Twin
look at
dogs.
Us now.
Look at us. Unhinged with twin dogs.
That's us. Ollie's here.
Yeah.
Okay. So you have like a long, crazy journey to business. So just like tell me, like, graduate high school, what then?
Oh gosh, girl. I'm old. Are we going back that far? Okay. I actually was a teacher. I studied at the University of Illinois. I'm from right outside of Chicago, and then I lived in the city of Chicago for a long time before I moved overseas. So but I was originally a teacher and loved it and was so hard. Once I started like having a family, having my own kids, I was like, the emotional output of that was not sustainable for me. Because like, I always joke with my kids, I don't do anything half-ass. Like I do things with my full ass. Well, cleaning my house, I do that half-ass, like organizing all half-ass, but I am a full ass person. So, I'm like, I just cannot do this and be a mom. And then we were also foster parents and it was just, all those things could not happen at once and me be even remotely sane. I'm only remotely sane. So I pivoted away from teaching, but we moved overseas to a really small island that most people can't find on a map. It's off the coast of East Africa. It's called Zanzibar, the Zanzibar Archipelago, or Nguya is the island we lived on. And it absolutely changed my life, like completely changed my life living there. And that's actually when I got really interested in like visual stories. And I've always been, so I majored in history with a concentration in race relations, Black history, which I am a glowing white person. So that was always a weird thing. Like, but the reason I love that is because, one, I realized that there are stories that are excluded from the narrative. from when I was in college and started taking Black history classes, I really was like, oh my gosh, most of what we've been taught about American history is a lie. And so I really started reading narratives. Like I've always been a huge story person. And it weaves into what I'm doing now, I promise. So that common thread, I feel like when you look back at your life, like there's not accidents. Like there are things that are not related directly to what I'm doing now, but it really was because I learned in some of those situations to listen to people's stories and to be curious. I think one of the best traits you can have as an entrepreneur, as a human, is to be curious about other people, about yourself. So and in Africa, I just started like, I was like, okay, what am I going to spend my birthday money on? This is literally the story. I'm like, what am I going to spend my birthday money on? You can only have so many all you can eat dresses, right? Like, it was a very small island, like, not a lot of, there's not shopping. You know what I mean? Well, there's shopping, but not shopping I wanted to do. So I decided to buy an online photography class, which joke was on me because we lost power like every other second.
Oh
So
my God. That's
I,
Africa.
yeah, couldn't take the class, but what happened was I bought myself, like, a little tiny DSLR camera. I just started, like, practicing using technique, and I also realized very quickly that, like, photography lends itself to exploitation, right? Like, you can create photos and say anything you want about those photos, and I saw a lot of people, maybe quote unquote "well-meaning," but people that would come into East Africa where we lived for a short period and then tell all these outrageous stories, and I spoke the language, and I'm like, "That's not what happened," you know? Um, and so I was like, I instead I think you have a choice in life, right? When you see something done in a crappy way, you can be like, "Oh, that sucks." Or you can be like, "I wonder how we could do this better." And I've always been that person that's like, "Oh, I can do this better," you know? Um, and then I like think too highly, like I can do it better easily. And then God takes me on this journey of like, "Oh, it's not easy, girl. Sit down. Sit down and calm down." So I started learning more about photography, ethical storytelling. That's when I got like certified, got hooked up with like Photographers Without Borders, did some of their courses. And that's kind of the history. Then when I moved back home, fast forward a few years, we went from 2 kids to 4 kids very quickly. And my life just got insane. But I always had this love of like photography and storytelling. Went to India, went to Taiwan, went to just some different places and did storytelling for organizations and loved it. And then fast forward to what I'm doing now. I help brands like entrepreneurs, bold entrepreneurs tell their story with intention. But I bring that lens of like ethical storytelling, meaning like informed consent. What do people want their story to look like? Because I think good intentions is not enough. Just because I intend something to be great doesn't mean that the person that's a part of those visual stories feels that way. So I really want to have that as part of what I do. So I work with non for profits, but I also mostly work with just individual entrepreneurs like you, like me. I know what it is because I'm doing it. So that's what
Yeah.
I'm doing now, and I love it. I moved to Raleigh about a year and a half ago, and that's been a whole journey. One that required me to have a therapist, let me tell you.
Yeah. Yeah. Wait, did you guys come here from Africa or no?
No,
Where were you
no. So
at?
we came we moved back from Africa over 10 years ago.
Okay. Okay.
Um, but we moved back to Chicago.
Okay.
And then moved to the suburbs once we had more kids and couldn't afford a big enough house in the city.
Yeah.
And then yeah, and then moved to Raleigh about a year and a half ago now, which is wild. That's wild to me.
Yeah.
So much has
Um,
changed in that time.
yeah, like one, I mean, you did the thing. How I feel like how many, I don't know, evangelical millennials are like, I'm gonna move to Africa and I'm gonna make a difference. And
Right. Right, right,
because
right.
that like I was raised evangelical and that's what was told to
Preached.
us. Like,
Yes.
yeah, you're gonna move to
Yes.
Africa and you're gonna
Yeah.
save these people. And it's like,
Yeah. It can be, this is what I'll say about that. I have a whole journey with that too. It can be really toxic. It
mhm,
also, for me, if you choose to lean into the parts of it that challenge every part of your um, worldview and like self worth and like what you think your self, image is, it actually can really be transformational. So for us, if I'm honest, even when I first originally went to teach on the south side of Chicago, there was like gross white saviorism in that. Absolutely. I admit that. I've gone through the process, but the cool part is that because I was willing to say, wait a minute, this is not lining up with the amazing community I'm now a part of. This is not lining up with the people that like for us, and this is an unpopular thing to say in church, but I always when we got back from Africa, I always said, God took me to a Muslim I wore a hijab, like a Muslim island to learn how to be more hospitable and loving. Like that's the truth. So that doesn't line up with a lot of people's theology, but this is the way I believe about theology, life, business. All of it is way more messy than people make it seem online. And I'm not interested in easy answers, in clear black and whites. I'm interested in like purpose, intention, living in a way that like I'm actually digging into these things. And it's the same way like, adoption is part of our family story. I think there was a lot of I've gotten in trouble and I've removed myself from a lot of spaces where it's like hashtag adoption is love. I'm like, yeah, it's also trauma. And if
Mhm.
you're honest about it, it doesn't mean that do I think that in some circumstances it exists, should exist? Yes. Has it been really difficult? Yes. Will it continue to be? Probably. It doesn't mean it's not part of our story and something I would never change our family story, but I'm not interested in telling the easy version of that. I'm not interested in erasing the hard parts because I don't think that that makes something more of God. Do you know
Yeah,
what I'm saying? Like I have a
absolutely.
I live with a chronic illness. That shit is hard. Like I it's so hard that I struggle to explain because I don't want to be like defined by it or my whole personality, but like I don't know, it's just taught me to live. It's a gift in the way that it's taught me to live with more nuance.
God, there's, like, just so much here. So, one, I went to school to be a history teacher and changed my
Oh,
major. Yeah,
no way!
yeah, I changed my major, because I like, some of the girls on the cheerleading squad at my school, because I cheered there, they, were communications majors, and they would go to LA in the summer and do internships, and I was like, "That's what I wanna do." So,
Yeah,
that's what I did, and so I would have been like you.
that is hilarious. I had no
Yeah,
there's because you know what? That's funny. There's very few females in history. Like, I think when
yeah.
I graduated,
I
it's
don't
like
think I had any.
yeah, it's mostly dudes. I think there were like 6 of us, like
Yeah,
6 women. Yeah.
I love that. And something you were saying, it just reminded me, like, I have friends that are from the side of Chicago, and it's like, it's not what we've been
Yeah.
taught that it is. I mean, we've all watched Shameless. We all know all of, that whole storyline of it. And, like, I don't know, I'm obsessed with Michelle Obama and her brother. And it's like, their experience was my experience with some of my even white friends in the South Side of Chicago, and it's
Hmm.
like, we have to stop convincing people not to go there, or, like, they're just gonna get shot if they, like, even drive through, like, I mean, there's bad parts anywhere you go, and
Yeah.
I'm sure, like, you probably saw a lot of that or maybe had a different opinion of the South Side once you stopped teaching there.
Yeah. Well, and I would say more arguably when I was there immersed in the community. Um, and arguably, I'm more scared of people with guns in North Carolina than I ever was
Absolutely.
in Chicago. I'm just being real. Like we had somebody like post something in our neighborhood community group like be don't come to my house ding dong ditching because I have guns. I'm like, are you being serious? You're threatening to shoot children, like
Yeah.
teenagers? I sat my kids down and I said, listen, we're in the South, y'all. Act accordingly. So listen, I'm not saying there's not real things. But like I traveled to India by myself as a woman. I it's not because I am not aware of the fact that there are real dangers. I also choose I would rather live my life regretting the things that I did than the things I didn't do. So if I feel like I'm going to go do something, I'm going to do it. I don't run with earbuds in Chicago. I don't even do that here by myself at night. So there's like a lot of things just to be wise as a woman. But yeah, I mean, I think in general, we stereotype and define things we don't understand. And when you are it takes a long time to be invited into a part of a community. Like, that's one of the things, like, people would go on these short-term trips to where we lived in East Africa, and they, would come home changed, and I get it. I did short-term trips, so is that was part of my story, and even me, who lived there for 4 years and who learned the language, I became fluent in that language. I know 1% of 1% of nothing about that culture, and if you're really honest, if something is very different than you, it is, I think, a good posture to be curious, ask questions, but not to judge and not to make to blow up stereotypes about that place because you've seen something for 5 seconds. I just think there's a lot of value in understanding different places, different cultures. Like, even since we moved to Raleigh, this place is very different than the Chicago area, and some of it I love. Like, the entrepreneurship community here, I love. It is very different. So I could say things about the South that I don't love since I've moved here, but there are so many things I do. And I guess I just choose to live my life like being like, I life is too short to stay in one place. I want to be curious about everyone around me. I know that I have something to learn from every single person I interact with, and that's true. Even if it's what I don't wanna be.
Yeah, and
So,
I think
I'm not gonna stereotype it.
the world would be a better place if more people had that mentality. I'm very lucky. My parents always traveled with us growing up, and like we didn't go on
Mm,
crazy like international vacations all the time, but we did travel a ton. And so by the time I graduated college, like today is my 16-year anniversary of when I moved to LA. I moved there with $500 and
aw.
no job, and I knew no one. And I
Yeah,
wasn't afraid because my parents had given us so many different experiences. And I think back at like people I grew up with, and they're still in my hometown of 4,000 people. Their whole world is this big because they never experienced anything different. They had
yeah.
no desire to, because a lot of them were just afraid of what was out there. Like these are people who won't even come visit in Raleigh because they're like, Raleigh's got traffic and it's scary. It's
Oh,
45
wow.
minutes away and they won't even do it? So I
Wow.
think like there's a lot to say for people that are just curious, and hopefully whoever's listening to this is curious and has gone on adventures. But if you haven't, like just book a freaking trip. You don't have to go to
Yeah.
Africa. You don't have to go to
Right,
India by
right,
yourself.
right.
Go, like get in the car and go somewhere,
If you do,
just
call me, I have suggestions.
exactly, exactly. But, like do some research and just start small and like just learn about other cultures and you're gonna learn about yourself.
Yeah. And I think, like, for us, I started out 2000 I just was reflecting on 2025 because it's about to be 2026, and I was in Colombia with my oldest daughter, who was 18 at the time. She's now 19, because for like, I always joke, like, one of my goals is my kids are gonna be in therapy for different things than I was in therapy for, but they're still gonna be in therapy. Let me be clear, because it's rough on these teen parenting streets, okay? But one of the things we do with our kids is I'm like, they're not gonna get cars when they're 16. We don't have nice furniture. They're not, but we take bomb trips. Nobody says that anymore. That makes me old, but
It's
we
okay.
take trips. And when we what we want to do, as long as we have the funds, is so we have 4 kids. When they're a senior, their graduation present is a trip anywhere in the world with a certain budget. But this is the key. They can take one of their parents with them. They have to pick one of us, and they have to plan the entire thing themselves. Why? Because I never want my kids to feel limited because they're afraid of something or they don't have the access skills to do it. So it was hard. My daughter had to figure out, do I need a visa? How do I book this thing? How do I change money? How do everything here is in a different language. And we did. We had adventures. Oh my gosh. We ran out of money. We had to walk like 2 miles. Like, it was crazy. We didn't die. It's fine. Everything's fine. Everyone mind your
Yeah.
business. But I feel like that is for us in our family, like every family has different values. There's lots of great values, but for us, that's something that's huge. Like, my second daughter is already planning her trip to China. She wants to go with my husband instead of me. I'm way more fun, and she's gonna have way better
Whatever.
pictures if she takes
Have
me.
fun
But
with
whatever,
dad
whatever.
snoring.
Yeah. But she's so organized, and my chaos stresses her out, I think. So anyway, but I love that my kids will have the gift when they go out into the world. And one of the things that's cool is to watch my kids. Like, if you put my kids in a room, they can make friends with or talk to anybody. Like, they're not as scared of people because we've always been around people from different cultures. And that's because I truly believe that it's valuable because we can learn and we can exchange value. Like, they can learn from us, we can learn from them. So it's like this mutuality thing that I love. Yeah. And that's where
And
my photography business started. My career grew.
yeah, and that like just doing that is such a gift to them, not only because they're going to experience different places, but the critical thinking that goes into planning and
Oh,
problem solving once you're there. I mean, kids these days, but they don't have that. My
yeah.
parents did this thing with us when we were little, and this is like so southern, but if we went somewhere, my parents would say, "Remember how we got back? You have to tell us." And if we told them the wrong way, they would turn the wrong way, and we had to figure it out. And
Wow.
me
Oh
and
my
my
gosh.
brother to this
I would
day
be cooked, as they
n
say.
no, me and my brother to this day are so good with directions, and Jeremy is not, and, like, speaking of someone from Illinois moving here, he's just like he's lived here for 2 years, cannot remember which Target is which or how to get there,
Well,
and
I'm on
if
his team, so
yeah,
let's have a
yeah.
fight right
I
now
don't know
because
what
listen,
they were teaching y'all in Illinois, but
to use
it
our
was not
GPS.
directions.
I told my kids, I'm like, "I'm so old that, we used to print out MapQuest
Oh,
directions
yeah.
and, like, navigate like a freaking pirate." Like,
Uh-huh.
that and, like, literally, if the road was closed, you had to stop at a gas station,
Figure it
okay,
out.
to figure it out. I'm like, "Y'all don't know the hardship that we grew up with."
When I switched cars, like, I had the same car from senior year in high school all through college, all like, mostly through LA, and I had it for, like, 10 or 11 years. I had so many printout MapQuests just stuffed under
Oh,
seats in that car when I sold
absolutely.
it.
That's right, because
It's great.
you were doing it old school, man. You suffered for
Yeah.
those directions, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so tell me a little bit about, like, how you started your business and specifically started, like, helping women with storytelling, because I do the
Yeah.
same thing, just different
Yeah,
medium.
totally, absolutely. That's why it was cool to connect. I mean, when I started my business, so the origins of my business is actually 10 years ago in the Chicago in when we lived in the city of Chicago. I started it with literally a 1-year-old on my hip. Like, I talk about a gritty AF season. I was like shooting and mostly like families and organizations. That has been the common thread through my whole thing. It's just that NGOs don't pay the same, right? So and they don't have the same budgets. But I was shooting and then, like, editing literally at 2 in the morning, breastfeeding a kid. Like, that's what I did when I started my business. So, I always say, like, I totally get, and I love the movement of, like, let's put down hustle culture and, like, let's, focus on rest and all these things. But maybe unpopular opinion, I'm an old lady. I think there are seasons of grit and hustle. If you are
Mhm.
an entrepreneur, and I was in one last year, I moved here and I literally was like, okay, I'm going to give myself 6 months. If I cannot create an income, I got to figure out something else because I don't do my business for funsies. Like, I do my business to help pay for our family's livelihood and kids' college. And so it pushed me in a way that, like, if I was just, I don't know, I couldn't just rest all the time. But I think if you're always in a perpetual season of hustle and grind, something is wrong. Something is wrong. And I think you got to pay attention to seasons. But that's how I started my business was like, I had 3 little kids and then our daughter came to stay and just stayed forever. So we had 4 kids. I was, like, shooting. I would, like, take care of them all day because they were little. My husband would get home, and I would basically be like, "Here," and I would run out the door, sunset shoots. And I always wanted more flexibility, like, than when I was teaching, and I wanted to be with my kids, but not all the time. Like, I'm a better mom when I'm not with my kids all the time. So I wanted to have something for me, but it started there and then it slowly evolved. And about 2 years ago, it's interesting, right? Because I used to be at home with little kids all day. Then all my kids went to school. And then I'm like, okay, I'm editing during the days, but I'm still leaving at night to go shoot at sunset. Seniors, families, all these things. And I'm missing my kids' games, their sporting events. Like, we used to eat dinner at 4:30 and, like, put kids to bed at 7. That was when we had littles. We don't have littles, we have all teenagers now, and I was like, "I don't wanna miss everything anymore." So I also just got so much more interested in especially female founders and women entrepreneurs. Like, what is your story? What makes you special? Because what I have realized in my journey is that truly embracing when I first became a photographer because I had imposter syndrome, I tried to fit in because I didn't go to school for this. I didn't study to do this. I taught myself. And so I was trying to fit in. When I finally realized that standing out is what makes you memorable is when my business took off. And when I finally embraced the fact that I'm not for everybody, but I am sure as heck for a lot of people, that is when my business was really became special and I was able to own it. So I invested in mentorship, invested in rebranding, invested in my own brand photography because I had always been taking pictures of myself with my tripod. No, I like, let's go. I'm going to practice what I preach. So flew to South Dakota for my mentorship retreat, all these things. And then I was like, you know what? When I land in North Carolina, I am completely only focusing on this because this is what brings me the most life right now in this season. Do I promise that I'll be doing this forever? No. I reserve the right to pivot anytime I feel like it. and I reserve the right to edit my life anytime that it's best for me. So, it's really been like an evolution and trajectory. I hate when people are like, "Oh, you've changed so much." Yeah, I hope so. Like, I'm
Yeah.
not the same person I was when I was 32 and
Yeah.
starting my business. Like, yeah, I've changed a lot, and that's good because I'm paying attention to the needs in my market, who I am, my expertise, and what I want my schedule to look like. So now I get to work. Like, I drop my kids at school most days, go to a session, and I pick them up, and they have no clue that I was even gone. And I love that.
Yeah.
And I get to work with
My God.
amazing, badass women. I love it.
I feel like I just need to talk to you every day because I needed to hear all of that stuff. It's okay to pivot. It's
Absolutely.
okay to have seasons, you know? And one thing that I heard at this conference I was at last year, that like changed everything for me. They were like, sometimes you're gonna have a down year, sometimes you're gonna have a down
Yes.
2 years, sometimes you're gonna have thousands of dollars worth of credit card debt. But the next year is
Yep.
the year that you make all your money. So you just have to ride out those seasons. And I feel like it's been pushed down our throat as female founders. You know, I always say this, you have to make seven figures. You're not successful unless you make seven figures. Well, I don't know how the fuck I can make seven figures just on my own. I would be
Right.
bleeding out of my eyes working 24/7.
Yes.
Like, and I don't necessarily need to make seven figures. You know,
Right.
what if $100,000 is perfect for me? Who knows? You know,
Same.
what
Yep.
if $10 and like, if you make $10, that's still profit, baby. Like, you have to celebrate the wins, and it's going to be different every year. It's going to be different every month, and it's okay to pivot and change. But at the end of the day, you have to just make sure you're doing what is good for you and is authentic to you, and not what all the girl bosses have told you to do.
And like I also want to say I am older, right? I am 46. I've seen behind the curtain a lot of I am more interested in being successful and in alignment with myself than looking successful online.
Yep.
And I think that that is key. There are a lot of things that we see that are just not reality if you were to peek behind the curtain. And there's no shame in that. It's just that I am not selling BS. Like, I
Hmm.
would rather, and this is the truth. I moved to North Carolina and I actually just talked about this. It actually got a ton of interaction. I talked about ways that I like completely changed my business and how I leveled up. And one of the things was like my bank account went down so low. Like I was like, okay,
Hmm.
I need a new website. I hired a social media manager. I needed brand photography. I did this, I did this. I invested in my systems. And I had like what looked like a very low year because I moved to North Carolina. I didn't work because no one knew who I was.
Knew
I
who you
literally
were.
was
Yeah.
yeah, I literally was screaming at my husband, "I wanna go back to Chicago, I hate this place." Fast forward a year later, I had the biggest year in my business than I've had in 10 years, not working for the first 3, 4 months. So, the reason is not to be like, "Oh, I'm amazing." The reason I share that story is because I was ready to quit a year ago, right? And I felt, like, drained, but I invested in things that people can't take away from me, which is myself, my process, my like, my attitude. I went to therapy. People don't want to talk about that unpopular thing, but like your girl needs a therapist. Because there, this trend of like, I'm very real. I share about my, some of my chronic illness journey online, whatever. I share things that other people wouldn't, but I also have very strict boundaries. I don't share a lot of things about, my kids' journeys, whatever. That's not my story to tell. But I do have a therapist that I talk to all those things about. I'm like, this whole keeping it real all the time. I'm like, sometimes that's actually emotionally unhealthy that you're sharing all
Yeah.
that online with people you don't know. I feel like we need to
You can
have
tell when it's a trauma dump.
yeah, I'm like, "Oh, girl, go get on the phone with your therapist." And I'm not saying I've never done that. I'm just saying I've learned. But I think that we have to like be real and let's say this. Someone else's definition of success will never feel as good as alignment with yourself feels. And I had to learn that and I even told my mentor like I had been going for this big financial goal and I was like, "Okay, I hit these 2 months in a row where I hit it and I exceeded it." And I told her I was like, "And now I decided I don't know if I want that anymore." And that's okay. That's okay. I know that I can repeat it. I just don't know if I want to because the level of stress in my body and like hustle was just a little bit too much. Now, maybe I decide I'll do that I'll really push for a few months because photography is seasonal. But it's okay. And it's also, again, going back to the pivot conversation, it's okay to think you want something and to get there and realize actually that's not what I want. And then that doesn't make you fake. It doesn't make you not real, all those things. It makes you a thinking, critical person. You should be critical about your life because you only get one, and it should feel good to you, right? So, not every moment. I hate doing my taxes. I hate doing certain things, right? But like, I love what I do. I love what I do. And I have to protect that because that's bringing the best version of myself for my clients.
Oh, you're just like, I just want to talk to you every day because you're giving me such good stuff that like I need to hear right now. Um,
Oh, I love it. Well,
and
I listen to every episode. I love it over here. I love people because I love people's stories. You do a great
yeah,
job.
well, even you saying that, I'm thinking about how, you know, I sat down with my mentor and we talked about ways that I can grow my business without having to do as much work. Because I put like everything into my clients and
Yes.
it's hard not to work 24/7 when my whole job is just trying to get to a yes for people. So anyway, we
Mm,
decided, to introduce my podcast pitching only and reframe that how because I was already doing it and reframe it, put it at a different price level, whatever, so it's more accessible to people. But now I hit that goal and I'm realizing, oh no, I'm grossly undercharging for this. So now
yeah.
I'm going to have to go back and figure out what the fuck does that look like.
Yeah.
And so it's almost the opposite of you, or it could be the same. It's like, okay, I want to hit this number, but it's a lot of work. And
Yeah.
maybe I don't want that. Because when you're chasing the numbers all the time, I think it's easy to forget like how much work you're actually putting in and is that sustainable? And a lot of times
Right.
it's not. And I'm the world's worst for burning myself out. Like if I like don't there's at least one day a week where I would just sit at my computer for 15 hours and I'm just working, working, working
Uh-huh.
and don't sleep that night because I'm just locked in. And sometimes that's how ADHD works and that's just you got to go
Yeah.
with it when the inspiration strikes, but then sometimes you're like, "What the fuck am I doing?" And that's
Yeah.
okay. It's okay to pivot.
Yeah, and I think you're the only one like, you're the only one that can know that for yourself because, like, what somebody else would call hustle like, when I first moved to Raleigh, I decided I am going to spend as many hours, working in building my business as I would if I had my business running. So, I networked like it was my full-time job, right? And I built my website out and I did all these things. Some people would consider that like, oh, kind of like unhealthy, hustle or whatever. I knew that I wanted to know for sure that I put everything into the relaunch, and if it didn't happen, I could walk away, right? I was okay with that, and if I was still doing that today, it would be a problem for me. But nobody gets to tell you that, like, you have to really take the time to I think, to think through, "Is this aligned, and is does this make sense for me?" Because I love like, I might take most of a day off to go to all my kids' games, and then the next day, I don't mind working 10 hours. Like, that's just me because I want to have that, like I don't have a perfect balance every day. That doesn't exist for me because I have 4 kids, at chronic illness, and a job. Like, it doesn't exist. But I do have a balance, and I do, um, choose things, and I one of the most profound things my therapist said to me years ago, which was I hated her for this, but she said, "Burnout is a choice. You're
Mhm.
making a choice." So, if you continue to choose that, you know what it feels like, you know the warning signs, all those things, like, we have to be accountable. We're always looking for the next thing, like, "Let me take this quiz online, let me do this journal prompt, let me do this." No, burnout is a choice, and you are gonna be burned out in every job whether you're an entrepreneur or you do something else, if you don't fix the parts of you that believe your value is in what you produce or what you do. And unless you deal with yourself and have hard conversations with yourself, it's going to continue. And again, I'm preaching that to myself now, being like, even this week, it's so hard for me because I'm like, yeah, yesterday I redid all my emails, like my system emails, all this stuff. I'm like, yeah, I want to get all this stuff ready for 2026. And I'm like, girl, just rest. What the heck? Like, just be with your kids, stop doing all this stuff. So I'm always preaching this to myself as well. But I think it is the more being an entrepreneur, you sign up even if you don't intend to for self-development and growth, and like you have to take a hard look at what you're doing and if it's working. And the point about pricing, I will say this, my mentor really helped me work through this. So if you're not working with a business mentor, finding one that you really respect that will tell you hard things. I had received so much advice for years that I needed to raise my rates. I was like, it did not sit with me, and this is why. I kept seeing stuff from other photographers like, "Charge more, charge more, charge more," and I was like something in me was like, I want to charge more, but I don't want to ever gouge people or make it feel like this really transactional thing or they don't come back. I always want for me to charge more. I needed the value to always exceed it. So I had to look hard at my systems, my client experience. And I was like, I knew my photography work was there. So I looked at those things. I worked really hard to up level everything. And then I tripled my prices. And I have been fully booked out. So,
Yeah.
but that's because
And I
now,
still think you don't charge a lot compared and
yay!
the
Well,
value.
going up again.
Yeah. Well, the value of what you give versus other people,
Yeah.
like, again, you're not boring headshots,
Right.
and
Right.
your prices are what people charge for boring ass headshots in
Yeah.
the lobby of a office building.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I really appreciate that. I this is my thing is like and then I did social proof. I made sure I had the feedback from clients. I volunteered a couple sessions when I was doing my new process before I started charging because for me, client experience and my relationship with my clients had to be amazing before I was going to charge more. But I think women get hung up on like the charging more piece. But if you're hung up there, fix what's broken so you can charge more and feel good about it because now when people ask me my rates, I am proud to say what they are. I don't have any sort of like gut check of like, oh, is it worth it? I know that it is because I've gotten feedback after feedback. But for me, I needed to up level myself as a business person and my systems and my experience to know that it was worth it. And now I feel aligned and it feels good because if you're dragging yourself to do client work, that's a sign that you're not charging what you should be. If you feel burnt out, if you feel like your clients don't appreciate you, if you all those things are a you problem because you choose what you charge people. You choose how to teach people how to treat you. So I had to get really real about that because I was like dragging myself to shoots and I was exhausted and I felt like, oh my gosh, nobody appreciates. That's a me problem, you know? So anyway, it was a very hard lesson to learn. I told my mentor, I was like, I get off the phone with you and I go straight to therapy and I cry and I feel butthurt and I hate everything and I hate everyone. But I was like, you're right. You're right. Like if I want to up level, I have to up level myself, not just, you know, put my pricing up. That's not what it is. It's like you have to have that feeling and knowing inside you that you're confident in what you charge.
Okay, let's talk about the girlies. So, obviously, like photo shoots, we all want photo shoots, but they're scary. So
Mhm.
what should like female founders, I'm gonna say female founders because guys never care. What should female founders know about like best practices? So like they need to book,
Oh
new
yeah.
photos, or like what the fuck do they wear? And what
Yeah.
do
Oh,
they
I
do with their
love this.
hands?
Oh my gosh, what do we do with our hands? It's like the never ending thing. First of all, I want to say this. You are not awkward in photos. Okay? Game on. Challenge accepted. You have believed that because you are even right now, I don't know if you guys like whenever you listen to this, but you know those like crazy AI photos that everyone's posting right
Oh
now?
yeah. Oh my God.
I am so anti. Here's why. We condition ourselves to look at unrealistic images and then are shocked when we don't like images of ourselves. Do not do that, ladies. Okay? So one, find somebody that you trust that feels like a real person to you to I don't even say the word take your photo. I don't even use that language. I say co-create imagery. And people will be like, "Oh, that you're just being crazy with that." No, because that's really about my process. I want people to
Anybody can take a photo.
Yes, that's right. You and iPhones can take bomb photos these days. Listen, put that on portrait mode and get you a little tripod, but the reason why people feel a type of way is because they haven't and I will say this, some of this, if you hate your photos right now, okay? One, that might not necessarily be just a photographer issue, it's a therapy issue. So that's one. Again, people might not like that, but I'm gonna tell the truth. Two, you need to it's almost like exposure therapy. Okay, I'm not a therapist, but I will say this. I used to absolutely loathe myself in photos until I did this self-portrait project. I knew that me showing up in my brand was the way to differentiate myself. Like back to that, what I said earlier. I started doing that. Now I get excited about my photos. When I just had my brand photos done in December, I met a photographer in Greensboro. I hate some of them in that gallery? Yeah. There's a couple of them that I'm like, oh, girl, That angle and your actual butt. Oh my gosh. But do I love most of them? Yes. Why? Because they feel like me. I trusted her. We did the process together and we told stories. So like there's like hot sauce. I'm eating tacos in my brand photos. I'm like I'm photographing somebody in my brand photos. So it's like I'm doing things that light me up. I'm not just sitting there like this. Right. So
Yeah.
if you think right now you're listening to this, oh, I don't do brand photos because it's just me with a coffee and a laptop. Girl, game on. Call me. Call me, please, immediately right now. Do not pass go because that is not what brand photos are. That's maybe what brand photography stock type stuff is. Brand storytelling is what is special about you. I create like a whole brand guide, all that. So one, you don't have to know what to do with your hands. That's my job. Okay. And don't trust nobody without a double chin. I am not
Oh, yeah.
I am not little. I got 5 chins. I know how to pose you. I know how to make you look good. It's literally part of my brand. I do like double chin chats on my stories, but I know how to pose people. I show them the back of the camera. It's very collaborative. I don't do 1 hour quick and dirty photo shoots. No. We have time so you feel comfortable. We can also some of my packages include an entire team. You can have a stylist, hair and makeup. It's video is included. You can do all these things because I want you to feel that what is so special about that is the team of women being for. I'm very protective about who's in that room. Hyping up other women and being for them is real. And that is a very special thing. And to me, it's almost sacred. And I protect it because I know how hard it is to put yourself out there as an entrepreneur. Trust me, I've been doing it for years. I know. And I know that it takes a lot of courage. But here's what I also know you do it and you start trusting that process, you will build confidence. The confidence you want is not because I have it and you don't. It's because I have chosen to exercise that muscle and you haven't. So not you, but whoever, like if
Yeah.
you're just like, oh, I can't show up. But if you've been posting the same tired headshot for 2 years, stop. Also, AI filters, overly filtered. This is what I want to say. It's not doing what you think it's doing. It's
Yeah.
not doing what you think it's doing. It immediately will break trust with your audience. How many times have you walked into a room, you finally meet someone in real life, they look nothing like what their online profile looks
All the
like?
time. Are you joking?
Yes.
And I'm like, girl, why are you
Yeah.
catfishing literally everyone?
Literally, yes. And especially if you're so for example, a lot of people are like, "Oh, my brand values are authenticity and, showing up and confidence and clarity in messaging, but everything you post is completely a catfish photo." It's not this it doesn't hit. So what I do is I help women hit. Now, are you going to look snatched and elevated and bomb? Yes, you are. Are you also going to have funny outtakes, personality shots, stock imagery that's custom to you? Yes. And that's what's special because no two galleries look the same because no two of my clients are the same. So I love what I do because the storytelling aspect is really special. And I do not take it for granted that people trust me with their stories because my story of how I started my business and why I do it today is very personal and sacred to me. So I don't trust that with just anybody. So I take it very seriously. So I would just say it's not as painful as you think. And you can do it. And even if you think your brand is like boring, again, game on. Let's go. I promise you through my process, we'll pick out what is really special. And just help you also show up with more clarity and confidence about what makes you special. Like I didn't just know this about myself until I started doing this as a regular practice and then investing in brand strategy. Like I'm sure this is true with PR, right? You help pull out from people what actually is special about them.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah. So you do
that's
that in a
why
different way.
yeah, and that's why I love working with female founders because they're always afraid to tell their story.
Yeah.
They never understand what actually needs to be said,
Right.
or they're sitting on like a gold mine and they're just like, "Well, I'm just a founder." And it's like, "No,
No.
you have 15 kids and your husband's in the military and your grandma won a Nobel Peace Prize." Like these are things we can use,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
we're so close to it and we think no one cares. I mean, I think no one cares. That's why my brand looks like shit. And that's why I never post on my social media. And like,
We're
I
gonna
have to,
fix it. We're gonna
we're
fix
going to
it.
fix it. Well,
Yeah.
I'm already like, okay, well, when me and you do a shoot, we need to have a red carpet. We need to like lean
Yeah.
into my celebrity shit. Like,
Yeah.
let's fucking
And
go.
also, can we please Ollie is a part of the shoot.
Ollie is
100%.
already in
Yeah.
it. And
Set up
so
his grooming appointment. Let's go.
yeah. Ollie's ready. I made Jeremy an Ollie shirt for Christmas. My
I saw
sister-in-law
that.
made me an Ollie shirt. So I'm like, do I wear the Ollie shirt? We'll
It was
figure I
so
have
on brand.
options.
Yes, it's so
Okay.
amazing.
So
No, so true. I just
go
wanna
ahead.
say when
Yeah.
something is so close to you, this is why it's helpful. Even so, in order for me to grow this year, I decided I had so much client work, I was not able to be, consistent on social media. I hired a social media manager because I needed to keep and maintain and focus on my client work. But I know, being in business for 10 years, that my clients 3 months from now start on social media today, right?
Mhm.
So I needed that to be consistent, so I hired it out. In that process, it has given me so much more clarity on so she's helping me and I'm posting a lot myself still, but it's given me so much clarity on what makes me special because I'm seeing it through her eyes. Get people on your team that you believe are for you and want to see you win, truly, that are not just there to collect money, because there are people that are just there to send you an invoice. I'm not gonna I could tell you stories. But if they really are on your team, they will pull out from you and ask the right questions because you are, I promise you, too close to your business to see some of the magic of it. And that's what I do. I help people see the magic. I have had so many women cry on set because they finally just it makes me cry. Take a deep breath and celebrate what they've built. Your
Oh,
business that you've built is special. Your brand is special. Building a brand is only gross if you're a gross person. It is not gross to put yourself out there. We need to do that because we attract the right people, but we also need to do that because we build the confidence to go to our next level, right? Ali agrees with me, and we need to go
Ollie
to our next
agrees. I mean,
level.
he was
Yes.
barking. He's ready.
He was in my amen corner. Amen,
He's
Ali.
ready. Oh, no, like, I'm like, "Oh my god, I just need Roxanne to call me every morning." Okay, so
Same
tell
girl.
me an unhinged story,
Oh my
like,
gosh. How
either
much
from
time we got
business
left?
or not. I know, I know.
I have so many unhinged stories. Okay. Okay, I think of a couple. First of all, in general, okay, so I live with multiple sclerosis. 0 out of 10 sucks. I would write so many four-letter words, strongly worded review online if I could. But I walk like I'm drunk all the time, even if I'm not drunk. So it's like kind of my party trick, right? So that I have run into walls. I have been dancing and just like fallen over. Like I think it's hilarious. Even on shoots, my clients will die laughing sometimes. It's one of the reasons I make it part of my brain because I never want someone to actually think I'm drunk. So, okay, I'll tell you a business one and then I'll tell you a personal one. Personal one. I was at the park with my kids. This is like 10 a.m. I have an iced coffee. I'm sitting on a bench. My kids are running and playing. I think we had kids staying with us at that time too. So I stand up to get ready to leave, lose my balance like crazy. I have vestibular stuff, literally just fall over. So I pop back up and I scream, I'm not drunk. And then I realize the only person that screams, I'm not drunk, is a drunk person. So
Yes.
then I scream, I have MS, and my daughter, she goes, Mama, shut up. Just get in the car. Just shut up. And I was like, oh my gosh, someone's going to report me and take my kids to DCFS. Like, I literally was getting into a vehicle at 10 a.m. looking like I was completely inebriated. And I promise you, I was not. I was drinking coffee. So that's number one. Okay. Business. I have so many. One, I will never forget this. Everybody has a story like this where you are just like, if you don't have an epic fail story yet, I actually feel fear for you because it's coming.
It's coming. It's coming.
So, girl, listen, when I first started, I was like shooting people, friends of friends, and like people I knew. This is why still to this day, like literally trauma, it lives in my body about this. I have a dual memory card slot. I will not ever shoot a client without recording it twice. I photographed a maternity session, switched the memory card halfway through, must have lost it in the sand. She went into labor 3 days later. Could not reshoot it. Now I had half the session. Also, this is back in my days. I think I charged like $50 this time. This is like 9 years ago. And I was doing it like I had nightmares, Melinda, when I tell you, I had nightmares for years about that moment. I went back to the beach and spent 4 hours searching through the sand for that memory card, never found it. To this day, I dual record everything. I'm telling you, trauma lives in my body. I dual record everything. I come home, put it on an external hard drive. I will not ever lose a client's work again. It took one time. That was 100%. And I moved to Raleigh, I invested in all this bougie lighting. This is actually funny. I actually posted this, which people are probably like, she is so unhinged, which is why you're my people. I invested in thousands of dollars worth of lighting. My husband comes home from work. He's like, what the heck happened in your office? I threw the stuff. I was so mad. I was like, my ADHD, I don't read directions. I just thought like I should be able to just use all this stuff. I
Just plug
literally
it in.
told him, yeah, I literally told him I'm quitting photography. I'm like, I have to get my teaching license. I have to go back to, I'm not doing this. He's like, let's give it a day. He's like, did you read the instructions? I was like, mind your business. I didn't read nothing. I called the number and this guy FaceTimed me back and I am bawling. Melinda, I am like, I have like no bra, a sweatshirt. I'm sweating. I'm
You're like,
bawling my
fix
eyes out.
it.
Yes, and I'm like, I'm afraid to even tell him my name because he's gonna look me up online and be like, I'm gonna leave her a Google review. But I literally, the reason I tell that story and the reason I told it online is because growth curves, right? Business is not like this. It's like this. And there are moments when you want to up level and go to the next level. For a lot of my clients, that's brand storytelling. For me, it was like I have to be able to really master and do these lighting techniques so I can control light in any circumstance. Because brands, you have to be inside, you have to do all these things. And I had a moment of throwing crap at the wall, cursing, wanting to quit. And I gave myself a 24-hour period to feel butt hurt and sorry for myself. And then I put on my big girl pants and I figured that shit out. Because you don't have to live in that space, but it's okay to experience it. I'm 10 years in and I literally a year ago was ready to quit. So
Yeah.
it's okay. Like we all, because to me, that was the level up. It's almost like you got to earn the level up. You know, like
Hmm.
these stories that we tell online of like, oh, I worked really hard and it just happened. No, I worked really hard. I cried. I had to go to therapy. I fell down 3 times. I failed numerous times. And then I got my big break. Okay. That's more of a believable story. I just don't buy this narrative because I know it's not true.
No.
And
Or
I'm teaching.
somebody's funding that shit for you.
Yeah.
Like,
Right. Right.
no.
Right. Or you outsourced everything. Like I'm teaching my teenage daughter. She just had one of my daughters had a big disappointment. And I said, honey, this is what's called grit loading. This is resilience loading in your life. And it sucks because you can't learn grit and resilience without pain.
Hmm.
And that is what teaches. It's just what you decide to make it mean about yourself. I made it mean that I'm too like I am crazy emotional. I can't concentrate on anything, in some ways. And I gave myself 24 hours and then I went back and I learned how to do it. And now I can't imagine my life without that lighting. Like I'm obsessed with my lighting. Um, because I can control it and I can do all these magical things I couldn't do 2 years ago. But it almost made me quit. It's okay to admit stuff like that. Like you can
Yeah.
learn and you can grow, but if you're in a season where you feel like that is happening for you, it's probably because a new level is going to unlock. Keep going. Keep going. But be real about it. It's okay. You could cry, girl. Call me.
Yeah. Yeah. Cry. I cry every day. Are you kidding me? I'm like, why did I do this to myself? Okay.
I love it.
Anyway, that's all I have for you. Tell
Oh,
everyone where they can find you. Puppy party.
yes. So you can find me and Chewbacca. He's always sitting in my chair next to me or on a call at Hawa, HAWA images.com. And I'm on Hawa Images on Instagram. And I'm just Rox Engstrom also for my
And it'll
personal.
be all in the show notes.
Awesome. Yeah. You can see my work. You can book a free discovery call. We can just hang out. We can talk about our dogs and our unhinged moments, whatever. I never turn down a lavender latte. So let's go.
Oh,
we
I
wrap,
love it.
we,
Wait,
we
they're
wrap
my
that dog.
favorite too.
Oh my gosh, that's
That's what I always
crazy.
order. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'll
Oh,
stop
you got to
trying to
come
lick
out
my
by
teeth.
me.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for coming on. We love you so much. And Ollie can't wait to see you and lick you.
I know. I'm so here for the Ollie content. I just want you to know. I literally comment on the YouTube podcast. I'm like, I'm here for Ollie.
I
Like,
know.
I know. It's just a thing. He's the best. We literally do not deserve dogs. Humans do not
No,
deserve dogs.
no.
100%. Yes.
Okay.
And my grandma, whom I'm named after, she always used to tell me, what is the point of having a little dog and if you are not going to spoil it? So
I
he goes and
know.
gets pup cups with me all the time. So thank you
Ollie
so
can't
much.
have those because
Oh,
he has a
sad.
sensitive tummy.
Oh, poor buddy. That's all right. He gets plenty of love. But thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
I like from that first night I met you, I was like, I like her. She says what she means and means what she says. Like I joke all the time. I say it with your full chest. And I'm
Oh
like,
yeah.
I'm in my
That's all
yeah.
I know how to do.
Yeah. I'm in my era of saying it with your full chest. And I think that, again, you're not going to be for everybody. I'm not for
Yeah.
everybody, but it is refreshing sometimes when you're in a haze of like looking a certain way or pretending or, having to posture. It's just refreshing. So I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
How freaking awesome is Roxanne? I mean, I love her. Hopefully now you love her. Please book her. All of her information will be in the show notes. But once you see her photography and her skill, you're going to want to book with her. I know it. So 2026, we are done with boring headshots. We are getting photos for our brands that actually look like us and actually tell our story. And we're supporting other amazing female founders and creatives. Isn't that right, Ali Wali? He says so. All right, guys, thank you for listening. Like and subscribe. Thank you for editing this, Jeremy. We love you. Like and subscribe to my podcast. It's Unhinged. Dun, dun, dun.